Ohio University works to reinstate suspended fraternities. Republicans are starting to break ranks with the White House over the Ukraine controversy. Plus an in-depth look at money-making opportunities in Appalachia. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Taylor Bruck. Thank you for joining us. Ohio University's Office of Sorority and Fraternity Life is working to outline the next steps for IFC fraternities on campus. According to the office, the plan was created by OU's SFL office in cooperation with all 15 IFC fraternities. Under the plan, fraternities who are not under investigation will work with the SFL office to complete required steps in order to be reinstated. Fraternities under investigation will have the opportunity to work with the office after the completion of the investigations. A state board in Ohio is pursuing disciplinary action against 3 pharmacists over excessive painkillers ordered for patients. The citations were issued yesterday in connection with the Mount Carmel West Hospital in Columbus. 2 pharmacists are cited for verifying large doses of fentanyl, another for supervisory failures after nurses overrode controls on automated dispensers and non-emergencies to access drugs. Ohio's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate increased slightly from August to September. State officials on Friday said the unemployment rate was 4.2% in September, compared with 4.1% in the previous month. Ohio's unemployment rate stood at 4.6% in September 2018. The national rate was 3.5% in September, down from last month, and down from 3.7% in September 2018.
Hi everybody. Well, it was a gorgeous day out there today right now, and it's still pretty gorgeous out there as we go throughout the area. 59 degrees in Athens, humidity dry at 40%, pressure is pretty high at 30.03 inches and falling as the high pressure moves away from the viewing area. Winds are out of the southeast at 1 mile an hour. Across the area, temperatures are generally in the upper 50s and lower 60s. 60 in Columbus, 59 in Newark, 57 in New Lexington, 59 here in Athens, 60 in Jackson, 62 is the warm spot down in Ironton. Again, pretty much all under mainly sunny skies. We do have a frost advisory, however, in effect for the entire viewing area except for Wayne County in West Virginia, and we have a freeze warning in effect for the northwestern portions of the viewing area. So it looks like, Taylor, you may need to bring your jackets as you go out and about tonight. It will be chilly.
Hopefully everyone has some cold weather gear ready to go. Thank you, Nick. Authorities in Ohio community are searching for vandals. This after vulgar symbols, racist language, and swastikas were found at a YMCA and a nearby park. Authorities believe the 2 might be linked. Kristen Swilley reports.
There we go.
The junior Bearcats are still learning the game of soccer.
Same team, same team, same team.
But their coach says they know right from wrong, and that's a lesson some have yet to grasp.
They brought it up. They noticed there was spray painting out.
He's talking about the graphic vandalism left on the field.
Now we got resources that can go to soccer teams, things like that. Now they have to put it towards cleaning this up.
There were some inappropriate phallic symbols. There were a few different swastikas painted on the field, and then there was some vulgar language.
Police believe the same group tagged Summit Park 2 weeks ago. The YMCA says the cost to fix this will be minimal. The board will be removed, the spray painted grass will fade, but it still stings.
It was incredibly disheartening, especially to see hate symbols. We here at the Y are a place of inclusion, and we strive to bring people together.
And parents who come here are disappointed too.
My kids would cringe if they seen that swastika. So, and they know it's not good. They know it's hateful. They know it's just mean, and nothing good ever comes of that.
You just explain, people are, sometimes up to no good, but there's, can't let it affect us and what we're doing here today.
There we go. Nailed it.
Footage from the YMCA security camera has been turned over to police, but it's not clear yet if the video captured the suspects. The governor of West Virginia is getting backlash today after his family business accepted a federal subsidy. The subsidy is meant to help farmers through the trade war with China. Governor Jim Justice says he didn't know his family business received the $125,000 subsidy. He also says many other farms received the subsidy, and he wants, quote, goodness for everybody. More on Governor Jim Justice. He announced a replacement today for a state senator. John J.R. Pitzenbarger will take Ohio former Senator Greg Boso's seat. Boso resigned last month because of scheduling conflicts with another job. The governor's office said in a statement Pitzenbarger is a fifth-generation farmer who is currently the State Farm Bureau's vice president. Coming up, Republicans in Congress speak out after comments from the Trump administration regarding the Ukraine. Plus, protests turn violent in Catalonia as citizens act out against the Spanish government. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
On Life from Above, looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the amazing variety of motion on the planet, revealing the constant swirling of the atmosphere, the relentless surge of water, the far-reaching travels of civilization, and even the migration of individual animals. Discover the surprising view of our home as you've never seen it before.
Are you nervous?
A little
bit? Oh, okay. Why?
Things run a little differently in this Queen's courtroom.
No one in here wants to see you in jail.
Meet a team of rebel heroines working to change the way prostitution cases are prosecuted.
She was in crisis and he just swooped in.
We are going to grant an early sealing. Yay!
Blowing up on POV.
There is a place in Africa where everything lives in a state of tension. To live here is to live dangerously. But everything is drawn to this oasis, the Okavango. Join us for an unprecedented journey into this river world. It is paradise not lost, but found.
Traffic, deadly crashes. Is there a better way?
Self-driving cars will eliminate road accidents.
A mobility revolution.
We're venturing into science fiction.
Or are we moving too fast?
Right in front of my car, it doesn't see him.
It's just simply not ready.
The stakes are high. Look who's driving on Nova.
Republicans are becoming alarmed as the White House's explanations surrounding President Trump withholding military aid from Ukraine are shifting. Former Ohio Governor John Kasich says he's concerned with comments made by White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, and he's not alone. Mulvaney's comments during a news conference seemed to acknowledge a quid pro quo, which Trump has denied. They were later clarified by House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, but Rooney says the comments couldn't be undone. An American actress is continuing her streak of civil disobedience. U.S. Capitol Police arrested Jane Fonda today during a second week of climate change protests. Fonda says she's holding the events to draw more people to climate activism. She also says she was inspired by Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg to continue with the civil disobedience she participated in the 70s. A climate change protester dressed as UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has climbed the Big Ben clock tower in England. The man, dressed in a blonde wig, suit jacket, and tie, scaled the tower, which is covered in scaffolding for repairs. According to the Press Association news agency, the man is 43-year-old Ben Atkinson. Atkinson, a tree surgeon, is a member of the Extinction Rebellion, a British group working to stage demonstrations calling for stronger action against climate change. Police in riot gear are shooting rubber bullets, using batons and police vans to disperse hundreds of young protesters surrounding the National Police headquarters in Barcelona. The protesters, while covering their faces and shielding themselves with skates and motorbike helmets, hurled eggs, bottles, and paint at police. Meanwhile, just a few blocks away from the riot, over 500,000 peaceful protesters took to the streets in protest against the imprisonment of Catalan separatist leaders. Coming up, a tropical storm is headed towards the U.S. Gulf Coast. That story's still ahead.
And weather-wise, we've got a frost advisory in effect for some of our areas. Some areas are also under freeze warnings. We'll talk all about that, plus some early week rain coming up in my full forecast. But first, a look at stocks of local interest.
Think Wednesday on PBS. For stories from the world around us. Stories of a lush paradise.
A place of color, immense beauty, abundance.
A mobility revolution.
We're venturing into science fiction.
And our powerful planet.
Earth appears to be still, but look closer.
For stories that get you closer to life. Think Wednesday, starting at 8/7 Central. Think PBS.
Are you nervous?
A little
bit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why?
Things run a little differently in this Queen's courtroom.
No one in here wants to see you in jail.
Meet a team of rebel heroines working to change the way prostitution cases are prosecuted.
She was in crisis and he just like swooped in.
We are going to grant an early sealing. Yay!
Blowing up on POV.
Next time on Finding Your Roots, hip-hop pioneers LL Cool J and Sean Combs both grew up without ancestral roots.
I never knew the extent of my history.
Now, Henry Louis Gates Jr. is about to remix their very identities.
Your ancestor was not a slave. He was free.
It's incredible. You see any family resemblance? That's unbelievable.
On the next Finding Your Roots.
Behind the crisis on the border,
Stephen Miller and Jeff Sessions and myself had a dinner in this very room.
By years of planning.
The audaciousness of what they were plotting.
They literally put children in cages.
Stephen Miller believes any time the country is focused on immigration, the president is winning.
The three men behind Zero Tolerance.
They use their power over immigration in ways we have not seen for a generation.
Welcome back. Well, it's pretty beautiful out there right now. If you take a look at the visible satellite, not many clouds overhead as we're speaking, and that's going to continue throughout the night, but it is going to allow clearing tonight, and it's really going to cool us off. Pretty calm in the jet stream. We have a slight polar ridge and a slight subtropical trough, so we're not very hot and we're not very cold either. We're pretty mild out there as you go out and about throughout the area. High pressure is dominating overhead, and that's why we're so clear right now, but that will allow it to really cool off tonight. We have a frost advisory in effect until 10 a.m. tomorrow for portions of the viewing area, and I'll get to that in a second, and a freeze warning until 10 a.m. tomorrow for other portions of the viewing area. Here's that county map. Frost advisories in this light blue, freeze warnings are in this dark blue right there, and pretty much all those areas we'll see temperatures in the lower and middle 30s tonight. So what do these each mean? Well, a frost advisory means that frost will likely develop due to temperatures in the middle 30s. Frost can kill sensitive outdoor vegetation if uncovered, and frost is most likely away from major rivers. Freeze warning means that temperatures will be in the low 30s. Freeze can kill crops and other sensitive outdoor vegetation and also damage unprotected outdoor plumbing, and make sure you cover up that sensitive vegetation and that outdoor plumbing to avoid damage to that. So tonight here in Athens, 35 degrees. It will be clear and cool. Again, very chilly. That frost advisory is in effect for Athens County. Clear and cool. Winds will be out of the east-northeast at 0 to 5 miles an hour. Across the area, temperatures generally in the lower and middle 30s. In those lower 30s, that's where we can expect the freeze. In the middle 30s, that's where we can expect the frost. The only county in the viewing area that's not under an advisory is Wayne County in West Virginia. That high pressure will move off to the east and allow a slight warm front up here to move in. It's going to warm us up for the weekend. And you can already see this tomorrow. 68 will be the high, mostly sunny, much warmer than it was today. Winds will be 5 to 10 miles an hour tomorrow, so pretty calm winds all throughout the day tomorrow. 67 in Columbus, 68 in New Lexington, 68 here in Athens, 71 the warm spot in Ripley, all under partly clouded and mostly sunny skies. Just a gorgeous day tomorrow. That high pressure will continue to dominate overhead over the next couple of days. It'll be a relatively seasonable week next week, a brief warm-up followed by a slight cool down. There's that trough coming in for the middle part of next week, and you can see there's that trough. Minus 3 degrees as far as averages goes, 3 degrees below average on Wednesday for your 7-day temperature averages. Cooler air right now, warmer air throughout this weekend. Cooler air for the middle part of next week. And then again, we're watching next week for a major cool down that a lot of our long-range models are agreeing on. Extended forecast 70 on Sunday, the warmest day of the week. Monday at 76 with rain coming, and more rain on Tuesday with highs in the middle 60s. Taylor?
Thank you, Nick. A tropical storm is headed toward the U.S. Gulf Coast. The storm system that forecasters are now calling Tropical Storm Nestor is expected to hit Friday evening and continue into early Saturday. Heavy rain, high winds, and dangerous storms are expected along northern parts of the Gulf Coast. The National Hurricane Center in Miami says the combination could lead to flooding in normally dry coastal areas. The remains of a sailor killed at Pearl Harbor have been identified as those of a Kentucky soldier. YMMT-TV reports military officials made the announcement yesterday. 20-year-old Seaman Second Class Hubert Hall was one of 428 crewmen on the USS Oklahoma on December 7, 1941, when it was struck by Japanese torpedoes. The military identified 35 crew members in 1947, but new forensic technology now enabled examiners to finally identify Hall. Coming up, we'll take a look at how tourism impacts some Appalachian communities. But first, stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Are your ducks in a row? Almost half of Americans do not have a proper estate plan. Estate plans are more than matters of money and inheritance. They can guide your future health decisions and provide special instructions for loved ones in your care. Put your mind at ease by getting your ducks in a row today.
Think Wednesday on PBS. For stories from the world around us. Stories of a lush paradise.
A place of color, immense beauty, abundance.
A mobility revolution.
We're venturing into science fiction.
And our powerful planet.
Earth appears to be still, but look closer.
For stories that get you closer to life. Think Wednesday, starting at 8/7 Central. Think PBS.
Prison is here to punish us. It's not about rehabilitating. It just isn't.
This is a full-time, total commitment. When that door closes, you're at Bard College.
It's hard, it's difficult, but it's rewarding.
I gotta prove that I'm worthy of this.
They're trying to pay back to society.
It changes your whole outlook.
I realized I learned something. That is where transformation happens. That is what stops people from coming back to prison.
College Behind Bars, Monday, November 25th at 9/8 Central, only on PBS.
Are you nervous?
A little
bit? Oh, okay. Why?
Things run a little differently in this Queen's courtroom.
No one in here wants to see you in jail.
Meet a team of rebel heroines working to change the way prostitution cases are prosecuted.
She was in crisis and he just swooped in.
We are going to grant an early sealing. Yay!
Blowing up on POV.
Appalachia, an area most people think of as synonymous with poverty. The region used to be synonymous with coal driving the economy, but times have clearly changed. Newswatch reporter Ben Schwartz takes a deeper look at the unique ways local communities try to drum up business.
It's really put a hard damper on the economy of this area. Bringing people into town is really the only way this place is going to survive. You have to bring people in order to have the revenue to support businesses. If that doesn't happen, this town will become a ghost town like so many others.
When jobs leave, so do people. People leaving means a lost tax base. With that gone, towns can disappear. To survive, residents have to find a new niche.
I'm sitting on an ATV on Main Street in New Straitsville. The village passed an ordinance allowing you to ride on any of the local roads with the purchase of an ATV pass from Wayne National Forest at $45 annually.
New Straitsville will try a little bit of anything to bring in business. Nicole Neal is the New Straitsville Village Council president and emphasized the need of these ATV and dirt bike passes just to make ends meet.
The great thing about the ATVs is that it brings in a lot of money into the town. It brings in people who want to go to the general store, people who want to go to the distillery, people who want to go to, unfortunately we don't have a bar anymore, but the pizza place, the carryout, they benefit from that.
More than 20,000 people bought an ATV pass in 2019. ATVs in Straitsville are the village's primary source of income for many over the summer months. That's about $1,000 in community services for New Straitsville's 700-plus residents. But for this once booming city built around coal, ATVs are not the only thing bringing in curious tourists. A more historical look of New Straitsville shows a long history of coal workers, with a fire still burning under the village to this day. Striking coal miners pushed a burning cart of coal into the mines beneath the village in 1884. The fire eventually turned New Straitsville into one of the moonshine capitals of the Midwest, as the smoke from the ongoing fire was used by moonshiners during the Prohibition to conceal their breweries.
This is part of our identity. This is how many young people here would know about the moonshining history and the coal mining, because we talk about it at the same time. But how many people would know some of that history or really even care if it weren't a highlight event of the year for here people?
And festivals like this play a big role in many southeastern Ohio economies. Meigs County is widely considered one of the most historic counties in the state. The county played up that history last summer as it celebrated its bicentennial year, bringing in more people, new and old. Dave Schatz, treasurer of the Chester Shade Historical Association, says the celebrations brought in many people to part of the community they had not seen in years.
It was intended to get people in the county, out into the county, to see what was going on. People that lived here all their lives didn't know what was going on over the next hill for many, many, many years. And there was one of the women that was well into her 80s that was participated in the treasure hunt, and she said she got to see areas that she hadn't seen since she was a kid.
But even with months of hard work, Chester Shade board member Jim Smith says the attendance for some events were less than ideal.
This year it was very hot, and the attendance was down due to that hot weather. So as members and board members at the last of our couple meetings we've had, I think we are going to change that date to an October date.
Just across the Ohio River in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a local legend brings in hordes of tourists and revenue for a festival in its honor. The legend tells of Mothman, an 8-foot-tall moth with human-like features who terrorized local residents in the early 70s. Marcia Finley owns and operates the Lowell Hotel across the street from the Mothman statue. She says the Mothman Festival brings in visitors from all over, helping keep her business afloat.
It's a huge weekend. Here it's a 3-day minimum stay, which gives people an opportunity to see the little town just before the crazy thunder of people. And then we had this past 2 weeks ago, over 15,000 people in town.
And the reason her hotel does so well is because of all of the festivities taking place.
It's a crazy 15,000 people on that Saturday. But there are vendors who sell all different types of Mothman or mystical things. There's great food vendors, which is a fabulous new great weekend for that. People just get to see the whole experience of how a small town had a small event somewhere in the 60s, has grown into a legend, an aura.
And while Mothman has drawn national attention, another local county uses its own spooky history to try and bring in tourists. Vinton County is the most rural county in Ohio, with the fewest residents. The county is at times desperate to draw in visitors. The first attraction highlighted on its website is the haunted Moonville Tunnel. The tunnel is believed to be haunted by the spirit of a man who died there. But it is truly just a tunnel. No gift shop, no snack shack. But according to Diane Beatty, for those searching for it, it is much more than a tunnel.
It's just a tunnel, yes. It is. It's just a tunnel, but it has a lot of legends and spooky little stories that go with it, and it draws people from all over the country. We have people come here that are from everywhere looking for Moonville Tunnel. So, you know, the haunted stories that go with it is what brings people in.
What might be even more surprising is that Vinton County showcases another haunted location on the official tourism website. According to local legend, a watchman died after falling into the Hope Iron Furnace. His ghost supposedly still haunts the area. And while these haunted attractions bring in thousands of people every year, as the most rural county in Ohio, peace and quiet is another draw.
People from the city want to get away and just relax. In a lot of areas in our county, we don't have cell service, so they like that because they can unplug and just enjoy nature, backpack, hike.
Local hauntings, legendary villains, a walk through history. Have they made a difference for these Appalachian communities? In Vinton County, 1 in 5 people still live in poverty. Across the state line in Point Pleasant, it's 1 in 4. And more than 40% of New Straitsville residents don't make enough to meet the poverty line. While tourism brings people into these areas, can it bring their own people out of poverty?
I talk to people all the time, and they're looking for the next big thing. They're looking for something they can do that will A, be profitable, and B, help the town.
Unless you have some major draws, it's rather tough to get many people coming in from distances. But it has worked, and it was successful to a degree.
There are a lot more people coming to Vinton County. The schools are wonderful schools now. We have new schools in the last few years, so that's a big plus to draw people in. And we have some new businesses starting in industry, so that's a plus also.
A historic first morning. The first all-female spacewalk began just before 8 a.m. Eastern Time when NASA astronauts Christina Koch and Jessica Meir left the International Space Station. They'll be replacing a battery unit that never came back on after new lithium-ion batteries were installed on October 11th. The pair has been training together for the last 6 years. Koch arrived at the station on March 14th and will stay there until February 2020, making her time at the station the longest ever single space flight by a woman. Meir will spend more than 6 months on board. NASA said the spacewalk could take 5 or 6 hours. There's also a third woman involved in this historic mission. NASA's Stephanie Wilson will be the crew's chief communicator on the ground. She's a former astronaut who did 3 tours of duty on board the ISS. Now over to Nicholas for one last look at the weather.
Thanks, Taylor. 68 tomorrow, mostly sunny, a lot warmer. Winds will be relatively calm, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Across the area, temperatures will generally be in the upper 60s and lower 70s. 70 in Chillicothe, 69 in Jackson, 68 in Athens, 68 in Marietta, 67 in New Martinsville, 66 in Cambridge. Again, all under mainly sunny to partly cloudy skies. The further west you are, the more clouds you will see tomorrow. Extended forecast, 70 on Sunday, 76 on Monday with rain chances. Tuesday, we have a better chance of rain at 100%, 65 degrees there. Here comes our cool down on Wednesday, 62, but it will be beautiful and sunny. Thursday, we're going to see another chance of rain come in at 68 degrees, and Friday, we're at 65 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Taylor?
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Taylor Bruck. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next, and remember you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org. Have a great night.
What's up, everybody? I am Joseph Hennessy, the host of Gridiron Glory, and wow, this season is flying by. It is week 8 of football already, so tune in on Friday at 11:30 p.m. and on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. for the repeats of our show. This week, we're going to be talking more about our Player of the Year and Coach of the Year candidates throughout our entire coverage. Connor Wright leads the way, Keegan Wilburn, just to name a couple, so stick around to see who else is in the list. Remember, there is nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.